Very good morning. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all the people who have joined in for today's webinar, dealing with a very significant topic, that is crisis communication in the digital age. We all have heard this term a number of times. We all are aware about its significance. And so today, our esteemed speaker would be discussing about this very relevant and significant topic at length. I would firstly like to take the opportunity to extend a very warm welcome to our very esteemed speaker for today's session, Paulmi Roy, who is the PR lead in Bazaar.com. She has also been heading and leading as the PR team head in Oppo Mobiles Private Limited before this. So we all extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am, for today's session. I would also like to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Jayati Sharma. I think ma'am is a little busy in some other activities going on, our Deputy Director of Amity School of Communication. And at the same time, I would like to welcome all the faculty members of Amity School of Communication and my dear students. Before I introduce our esteemed speaker for today's very significant session, I would just like to introduce the topic in brief. I was just mentioning that every organization, whether a big organization or a small organization, every organization has at one or the some point of time come across certain kind of crisis. It can be a bigger one, it can be a smaller one, taking the shape and form of an issue maybe. But then if not handled on time, in the right manner, with the right strategy, with the right plan, with the right team behind it, it can really, explode and become a very big crisis. And whenever a crisis occurs, we all are aware of one very disastrous thing which happens is reputation damage. Something which a company really feels the pinch of it is the image loss, negative media publicity, the great reputation damage. So every organization especially needs to take care of this area in a very significant and a serious manner, especially in today's digital era. We all are aware of what a Facebook post can do and what kind of, havoc Twitter can play, especially in terms of crisis situations. So therefore, how does a message, posting message, sharing, monitoring the messages, responding to all kinds of messages in today's digital era? And very rightly, we use a term for this kind of crisis communication and how to handle crisis in the digital era is called as a social mediated crisis communication. So how we can make use of social media to ensure that at least we can mitigate the reputation loss, the reputation damage to an organization, what needs to be done, how we can make use of social media, what can be the social media strategy, which way we should respond, how we should respond, to whom we should respond in today's digital era. So exactly on these lines, we are extremely fortunate to have a very esteemed, seasoned professional who has been really dealing with all kinds of crises, and she will be speaking at length as to how we can ensure that we can handle crisis in the right manner. So before I invite Paulmi ma'am to go ahead with the session, I would just like to quickly introduce you all to the profile of our very esteemed speaker. Paulmi Roy, she is a very seasoned strategic communication professional with more than a decade of experience in Corpcom, crisis management, public policy making, strategy planning, brand building. She has also been a part of all kinds of collateral developments, CSR, event planning, execution, digital, social media outreach program, as well as content creation. She's a strong believer of all kinds of earned and owned channels, driven entirely by her passion to be in this field and the power of storytelling, guided by a metric-oriented frame of mind. Currently, ma'am is based in Gurgaon, leading the corporate communication team for a very reputed brand, IK.com. And ma'am has also got a good number of very reputed awards and accolades to her credit, to her journey as a mark of her excellence. She has been honored by the Times of India 40 under 40 for outstanding participation for Oppo India in 2021. She has received the Times Excellence Award by Times Group of India in 2021 for the outstanding work which ma'am has done in CSR domain for Oppo mobiles. Honored by Ad Gully for Corporate Communication Person of the Year Award in 2021. So I can just go on, and she's also having some good number of write-ups to her credit, has been featured twice in India's leading publication, The Times of India, National Edition, featured in India's #1 fashion magazine, Vogue and GQ, felicitated by the veteran actor, Mr. Anupam Kher at Times Group Awards ceremony. She's also an active member of Public Relations Society of India, guest speaker at a number of reputed institutes and colleges. So I really am very excited, ma'am, and so are our faculties and students to listen to your valuable insights as to what are the companies doing, especially in terms of so many different digital and social media platforms. So now over to you, ma'am. Without wasting time, we welcome you all, and the entire stage is all yours, ma'am, although on the online mode. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and thank you to Amity University for giving me this opportunity to share my experiences. And first of all, good morning, everybody, to all the lovely students whom I cannot meet, personally, but it's lovely to join you here through a webinar. And I hope that with my experiences, I would be able to share some lights on the topic that we thought that is very relevant, like ma'am said, in today's world. So without any delay, I will firstly like to share my screen, and then maybe I can take you through my PPT. I hope my screen is visible. Ma'am, you can see my screen, right?
It's just coming. It's just coming.
Yes,
Pauline.
yes, ma'am.
It's
Ma'am, it's visible. You
it's
can
visible.
start.
Okay, sure. So like ma'am said, today's in digital world with the rise of internet, I think crisis communication or crisis is something that is very important in any organization. And it is when it is hit, I think it is very important for an individual to deal and see how to strategize the crisis. First of all, in today's presentation, you will not find any kind of textbook material that that you need to follow. Crisis is all about, as a communication person, is all about your proactiveness, is all about your alertness, is all about your sixth sense, how to deal with a crisis. There's no perfect way. I've been leading, corporate communication team of Oppo India for the last 5 years. And trust me, during this 5 years tenure, I have been hit with multiple crises. And you all are aware of the coronavirus, anti-China statement. There are various sentiments or narratives that were in the market. And this was very new as a communication professional, that how to deal with this kind of a scenario, because nowhere in their textbook or in our professional life we were taught, we thought that we will deal with such kind of an issue which is called coronavirus or anti-China. So this is our all new age communications that has emerged during this time. And secondly, with the rise of internet, I think mostly during the COVID time, with the rise of internet, like Twitter, especially, if you all are in the online platform, you will see the kind of trends or, the topics that emerge in everyday basis. I think crisis today can be hit at any point of time. So any incident can become a bigger crisis. So as a PR professional, it is very important for you person to understand the nitty-gritties of the situation and to proactively see that how it can impact your different stakeholders and how it is going to impact your consumer, and is it going to badly hamper your company's reputation. It is on your hand. Lastly, I would like to state a very simple statement about crisis communication. So when all of you are college student, once you pass off out of degree, you have two options to join as a PR person. Either you join in a agency or a corporate or in an organization. So when you are an agency, let me tell you, you are surrounded by your colleagues, your boss, your leaders, who are there constantly to guide you what to do when you are in a crisis situation. But the scenario completely differs when you join as an organization. So when you're dealing with an organization, you are in a boardroom with a couple of, important members in the meeting room, and you are telling them about the crisis situation. And let me tell you, when you are in a boardroom, like I said, with a couple of people who are very important to the organization, these are very senior leaders of different team structure, like for example the government affair people, a lawyer, a finance person, your company's boss or your chairman, or if it is a global organization, you have to deal with different country hubs, like apart from India. So you have to address the situation, and you have to tell each and everyone what is their roles and responsibility. So for any PR person, I think it is very, very important that you play a very important role in an organization to tell them what to do, how to deal with a crisis, and how to address the situation. Most of the people will guide you, with a solution like let's avoid it, or let's not take this matter very seriously. But you as a PR professional have to be very proactive and critical in terms of thinking analysis, like what is the kind of crisis that you can deal in the later situation. Okay, so firstly, like I said, the first slide of my presentation is talking about the vulnerabilities mapping across the business. So like I said, there are different type of scenarios that can emerge apart from your daily business relations. That can be political, that can be regional, that can be product, sale, corporate, brand. So you have to see that who is impacted, what will be the concern, and what does it actually mean for us. And as a PR person, it is very, very important that before anybody tell you, you assess the situation, that what are the assets are going to affect. So for example, I'll take example of a smartphone consumer brand, because I am from a smartphone consumer brand, so I can give you a relevant example on that. So like for example, I said, like, is it going to hit your factory people? It is going to hit your sales people, or it is the internal employees? So what kind of assets are going to really affect your company's image? What is the kind of market or groups are going to affect, and how the customers are going to affect? Like, is it a long-term disaster that a customer can deal with, or is it a short term? So as a PR person, these are very important questions that you need to address at a first go. Identify that, how do we address the problem? Are we confident enough that what has happened, we take the responsibility of it, or do we deny the fact? It is extremely important for you to analyze the situation of the crisis and see how quickly and how fast you can respond to any query that has come up. So what are the potential area of crisis? So crisis is so when a crisis emerge, it is a kind of an incident that has happened in the market, and as a PR person, you are the first person to get the information about an incident that has happened. But with the time, you will see that the incident becomes more and more word of mouth spreads, and that's where the crisis began, and it can take a larger effect on the company's brand image. So there are 5 things that you need to see that have the impact on company stakeholders in India. Like, is it going to really impact your company's reputation or brand image, or it is just a normal scenario and it is not going to deal so much? So as a PR person, you really have to see those kind of situation. Thirdly, which is very important, I think, as a consumer brand or as a smartphone or a Chinese brand that I was representing in, it was very important for the last 2 years also to see that how, this is going to affect, like, is a very serious call where the government official, because once a government official or the authorities are, involved in this matter, then you are in a serious trouble in this case, that how to deal with this matter. Fourthly, cause of the damage of the organization or any financial losses that is going to happen. You will see a lot of example that I will cite, that you will understand that what is the kind of financial losses that I'm talking about, or the damage. So understand what kind of a crisis I was talking about. Fifthly, any serious damage or safety has been happened, or safety protocol damage has been happened to our employees, or it is going to impact our employees or any stakeholders. So these are the potential area of crisis that you need to look and understand, that when you are hit in a crisis, are this going to affect your employees or your business, and take a decision based on that matter. There are three types of crises that usually occur. One, sudden crisis, which I have cited. You can see, look down in the example, like like a breach of any privacy or data security, or suddenly one evening you get to know that a fire has blasted at your factory, or any inappropriate opinion has been made by any company stakeholders, maybe your company management or executive on social media platform, or a sudden phone blast has occurred at any region, or any employee have conducted a suicide for any reason. And these are kind of a sudden crisis that will come at a time, just suddenly, and you don't know how to react, or what to do on this situation. Smoldering crisis, these are the crises which is have the potential to have to become critical if it is not addressed on time. So addressing the crisis, like I said, is very important. Time is very critical in terms of handling a crisis. So for example, like I said, the anti-China sentiment which emerged during the last 2 years, especially in the India market, like ban, boycott, eventually it started with a little bit of noise about data security. Then it emerged to be boycotting the Chinese goods, and then it came on to this all the smartphone makers in India, like why are we doing business in India? So that kind of a sentiment, and how to deal, because this time this is a situation where you are not only dealing with your employees, because you have to address your employees about the concern that this is a safe company to work with, but also your consumer, because all over India it is a protest that is going on to ban the Chinese product. And lastly, which is very important, like I said, the government officials are after you to see that what are the things that are going wrong into the business and how to mitigate that kind of a situation. Secondly, employee or retailer protest. So any kind of a protest, because as a smartphone brand, we work with large number of retailer associations or employees in our factory. So any kind of a dispute or concern can raise their concern about their voice, and this deals into a protest. Now it can be a small protest where they have a normal conversation about a day, or it can go on a week-long protest and followed by different regional media or national TV media to cover the incident and giving it into a political situation angle. And then you are hit with a crisis in no time to deal. How do you deal and address the situation about the political angle as well as the retailer angle? Thirdly, there are multi-issue crises, which means that this kind of a crisis is not only hit particularly in a particular region or a country, it is being spread all over the world. So if you work in a global company, for example, any kind of data leak or fake components being used by the smartphone maker. So for example, a consumer may feel that any component was a fake component and he is not satisfied with this kind of a product. He may come up with a Twitter post and post it on his Twitter channel, tagging all the region or important markets, and slowly you can see that all the people, not only from India but also internationally, also people are participating or talking about it, or putting their word of mouth or opinion about the topic, and suddenly it becomes a crisis all over the world, where you have to address the situation to how to deal with this kind of a crisis, not only from your region but at a global level. So quality issues, fake components, these are very common in a consumer durable company. So where you have to address a large kind of a multi issue crisis, not only dealing into the India market but all over the world. So what we do when you are hit with a crisis, first of all, I think for any PR professional, You have to be a very calm person, and this 6 things should be on your call logs that you need to prepare for yourself before you get into a board meeting and address the situation. Because like Clay likely said, when you are hit with a crisis, you are the person who is running your bus. You have to address all your stakeholders, how to action their different departments and how to mitigate this. So first of all, prepare yourself. Don't wait for the crisis to happen, or you just get a random, most of the peer time what happened, you just get a call, maybe for example from your customer service team, saying that some person has tweeted something on his Twitter profile. We just have got 3 likes as of now. I think it is not going to happen anything. And that's what you are not preparing yourself. You do not leave that conversation there, that only 3 likes, I think it's not going to be a big deal. You never know, with no matter of time, within a half an hour, that can get 100 or 1,000 likes, and it can become a topic of discussion. So don't wait for the right time or somebody to tell you to prepare yourself. So every time prepare yourself, plan yourself, like if this is a situation, what are the peoples are going to involved in this plan, who are you going to address it, how are you going to inform the different departments about the situation and tell them what to do, the next step. Thirdly, like I said, monitoring plays a very important role. Like you have your own equipments, like we all are on social media platforms or different social media channels or news channels. We track them regularly. So be proactive and see like what all things or conversation is happening about that particular topic. So constantly monitor those kind of conversation and see that where is the conversation leading to. Then foster about your good relation if you have. So this is on an extreme case, if you have a very, very good relation with a media, in case while you are monitoring and you are getting a phone call from your media friends, and if you have a very good media friends, then you can ask them about the source of information or the kind of information they have. So collect information as much as you can before giving out a statement of your own. So first, very important, do not give a statement at the first end. Through your media friends, try to collect information about the situation, as many as you can, so that you have enough materials, like what all the things about topic of discussion is going around in the market, and you can tell that in your boardroom. Document it, every single thing, document it, the kind of information that you are receiving, whether it is true, whether it is false, document it, because later you will be able, it will help you to see that which all important issues need to be addressed and which are things you can let it go for the time being. And lastly, log, like I said, update all your information about your team members. So when you work in an organization, you have to create a kind of a crisis management team. So whenever a crisis is hit, you know whom to call. Like the first person, if I was in a position always in a crisis situation, I would first make a call to my legal team to understand what are the nitty-gritties that can happen on a legal basis. Then my GA team, like for example, what are the things the government authorities are thinking about us, and what can lead us to a bigger crisis if this is not addressed or in a proper time. So have the team member detail and make a possible way of communication in no way of time. Then coming on to the phases of crisis. So every crisis have a I call it, like for my example, I have seen there is 72 hours of lifeline that a crisis hit. So once the crisis hit, you get a time to think, and then it becomes big. It hits on its peak, and you will see that on that peak, everybody is talking about it, discussing about it, having their opinions. And this is a time frame of mostly 72 hours that most of the people will have their conversation. When I say most of the people, I mean the digital media and our media fraternity, who will write about this, about India in their article, newspaper, blogs, or Twitter. So everything has been written or have their opinion, and then you will see a sudden dip in the conversation, because either the incident has been reported or there is no new angle to the story. If there is a new angle to a story, or a new development to that incident, then again there's a peak in the crisis life cycle that you can see. So we divide it into 4 phases, like I mentioned here: the preliminary phases, the acute phase, the chronic phase, and the healing phase. Like I said, the preliminary phase is you receive the first kind of a warning, like, maybe a phone has blasted in Gujarat. A person has tweeted about an image where he has shown his phone, and he has demanded that maybe some of his bicycle or a scooter that he was riding has been caught on fire, and that has caused him monetary damage. So this is a kind of a first kind of a signal. Now, as a peer person, you can completely avoid it and say, okay, phone hi to blast hua hai, so you write me a mail, I will see into that. And the moment you say I will see into it, you will see within half an hour, by the time that team is writing a mail to you, you will see a YouTube blogger has gone to his place and recorded the whole video and tagged everybody in the social media and uploaded that video, and your sales team is going crazy because that is going to seriously damage, of course, the company's image, because a phone has blasted. Whatever the reason is, we don't know the reason, because that is the thing. A separate department has to look and see what has been the cause of the damage. There can be several kind of cause, but nobody will get into that reason that way phone क्यों blast हुआ. First of all, everybody will jump, Oppo phone has been blasted, and that must be the cause of the incident, and let's write about it, let's share our opinion about it. So that is a primary phase. Acute phase, like I said, triggering event that lead to a crisis. Chronic phase, crisis reaches the peak importance. So like I said, so if giving you an example, a YouTuber blogger have uploaded his a video on his channel and tagging everybody in the social media, and suddenly you see people started talking about it, and then a newspaper channel, regional media have started giving you a call. Suddenly they have also started posting it on their website and blog, and in no matter of time, maybe by the night, you hit by 9 or 10, you receive a call from a national media, maybe Times of India, talking about this blast issue. And if you don't address it, so if you at night, if you don't address the situation, by the time, and like I said, this is a digital age, guys. So पहले क्या होता था, you receive a phone call and next morning people used to file, they used to file a report, and next morning when we get a newspaper, हमें पता चलता था, अच्छा, this is the news that has happened. But now, the moment you get a call, the media person is also, they are also online. So either they are putting their story on the online website or their Twitter channel about their citing their opinion, and this become a matter of discussion about everybody, that this incident has happened, and everybody, then other media started calling you and started writing about an incident. And no matter whatever your opinion, and if you have not given your opinion, it's a one-sided story, and the consumer at the end of the day, jab wo story pad rahe, what is his perception that the phone has been blasted, and this is a phone is by Oppo, and of course, if it is a brand name being mentioned, and that's a big damage to a brand image. And lastly, the healing image. Like I said, if there is no further follow-up that is happening, then the crisis is going to mitigate. If it is not, if there is another development, for example, for any reason, maybe your regional team, our regional team thinks of, let me handle this crisis of my own. So that person gives a call to that person and says that, hey, we saw this problem of yours, why didn't you do something? You give me your phone and we will see that, if we can replace your phone. And the moment that this talk is, this, we have this conversation, the person has this conversation with this person thinks of going it and telling it to the media that yes, yeah, hey, you know what, I got a call from Oppo and they have admitted their thing and they are going to compensate me, and then becomes again a next level of crisis, where the stories or narrative sounds like, yes, this is a big mistake by Oppo India because of the fake components or the quality issues being compromised, and now they are ready to compensate. Then again, you see a peak of crisis. And if it is not any followed by any kind of an followed up incident, then the crisis is going to, slow down, and you will slowly see that the end of conversation within few hours of time. So like I said, how to manage a crisis. So first of all, there no particular way or a method that anybody can tell you that this is exactly a method that you should follow to mitigate a crisis. But yes, these are important things or steps, as a basic step that as a person you can think when you are hit with a crisis, or when you join as an organization, what you can do beforehand to prepare yourself. So whenever you are hit with a crisis, at least your basic level of work is done, and at least you know how to address the situation. For example, form your team. So when you join as a PR person, you have to see who are the important stakeholders into your organization. For example, like I said, it can be your social media team, it will be your HR team, it will be your finance team, it will be your customer relations team or sales team. So understand the business scenario and see who are the important team members who are going to hit if a crisis is being hit at any point of time. So formulate a team member and inform the authority. So once you know about, so once you have the enough information, and yeah, don't be so proactive, or say proactive in terms of just getting a phone call and you are not aware of the whole incident and just giving a narrative about, this has happened. This is not good. First collect the information and then inform the authorities about what is the situation that you have got to know and what are the talks being talked about into the market. Inform staffs about about the crisis. So one of the most important thing that happen is now when we work as an employee, when we work into an organization, when a crisis is hit, I think most often as an employee we see that via news channel or social media ki ye incident ho gaya, and then every employee start thinking about this incident, Are, ye ho gaya, kaise kare? And that is the reason you will see lot of buzz into the market, where our own employees are being talking about different narrative, whatever they get to know from their friends, their bosses, their partners. It's all in the chaos, and different kind of narratives are being floated in the market. And trust me, this is the most important thing that you need to address your employee, because if it is not addressed on time, many of the misinformation can float in the market and you cannot handle the crisis after that, because fake news is something that you cannot handle at one go. So how to inform or how to address the employee is one of the most important chapter as a PR person, that you need to guide to your HR team and tell them that how to address the situation. Secondly, like I said, inform media and keep it updated. So two type of situation arises whenever you are hit with a crisis. The moment you know the crisis has happened, and you will get a call from a media very immediately, or with a due course of time, you will see that media start calling you or as a person or your agency people about inquiring about the fact that what has happened, to understand your side of the story. So as a person, you have to, like I said, you have to, PR person, you have to see that what is the thing you need to address. Is it the right time to give a statement statement to the media, or do you need a proper investigation internally to understand the situation, what is right and what is wrong into the crisis, so that you can give a statement to the media? So don't be in a panic mode whenever you get a phone call from a media. You can simply restrict by yourself by just hearing the person out, what is his query, and simply address him that, maybe you can respond him in an hour's time or a few minutes time, but do not address proactively if you do not have the whole narrative in your hand. So this is very important as a PR person. So guidelines for a media, this is particularly for your social media people, because right now with the age of digital media, like I said, it is पहले क्या होता था, media queries सिर्फ आती थी. Now you get a social media queries also, because a lot of consumers start questioning about your integrity, your judgment. So this is both guidelines for in terms of your social media team, because you as a PR person have to tell them what is the findings that if you have collected about the incident. Is it a real situation? It is a fake situation? If it is a real situation, why has this situation been arise, and what are the things are you going to take as a company to to address the situation? So as a PR person, prepare a written statement for every department. One particular statement should be circulated to every department, be it the media, be it the social media, be it for employees, stating the fact, what has happened and what will be done by the company. Prepare Q&As, as many as Q&As you can formulate. So think in terms of what are the probable questions that a person can ask you, maybe a media person, maybe as a consumer, maybe as an employee. What are the things that people can ask you in case if you're giving a 2-line statement? Beyond that, what are the things people can think about this crisis? So prepare the possible questions and answers of your own, and see how do you deal with this. If it is a bigger crisis, like it's a very, very national level crisis, and you see it's a serious reputation damage to your company, I think that is a time when people arrange for a press conference where you address everybody at one go and tell them about the situation, about the thing that has happened. But if it is not that a big thing, I think a written statement mostly helps any organization to address the situation. Respond promptly. Time is one of the critical factor in any crisis. At any point of time, you will see plays a very important role. If your response is delayed by a minute, a media statement, a media story goes out, your company's brand reputation is gone and you cannot take it back after that. So be very proactive in responding to the queries. Avoid blames. This is one of the most important thing that mostly department peoples or organization do not like to accept, because they feel like, as an organization, like a leader of a company, like why should we take the blame because it is not factually correct or whatever the situation is. So avoid blaming people or giving unnecessary statement about not cooperating. It is always nice that you be humble about the situation and take responsibility, whether it is true or false, but you take a situation where you humbly respond to the queries about investigating the matter, or cooperating with the investigation, so that there is no kind of arrogance shown in terms of the statement. And when as a PR person you find out that it is actually the blame, the problem is within your company, I think it's better you apologize at the right moment. I think that's the best way to deal with any crisis. If you are on the wrong side, please be apologetic about the matter and see how do you compensate the situation about. These are some of the, again, guidelines for social media tracking. For example, listen exactly is the same thing like I told you about monitoring. Listen is the most important thing that you need to track as a PR person when you hit with a crisis. See what are the communication internally happening, evaluate the things, like what are things can replicate to different kind of a situation, reschedule the post. So if you, so for example, this is very important critical thing that I need to address about the social media post. So when your social media team have day-to-day activity where the team knows that these are 7 posts or posters needs to go out on our social media platform, and on the parallel side you are hit with a crisis. So for example, your factory people have protested and protest is going on, and in one narrative all the media and all the websites, all the online channel are talking about this protest going on, and in one side you're constantly promoting your new upcoming product. This is the feature that is coming out, this is a all-rounder feature. Of course consumer is going to hate it, because of course when we are hearing about a certain situation, like maybe protest is going on because maybe there has been a issue about wages. Okay, so in one hand we are talking about the wages, the rights of the laborers, and in one hand we are talking about the new feature, how great our feature is. Consumer is not going to like that. Once you put out the poster, you will see a lot of negative comments coming in your comment section, and that is going to hamper your company's reputation. So as a PR person, and your social media team is not aware about this is the protest that is going on, because they are very much involved in their day-to-day activity where they are designing their poster, and their objective is to upload the picture and to get likes. So you as a PR person have to correctly tell them, or at the time hold it the poster for the timing. I think this is not the right time that you promote a particular feature. This is the situation that has happened. Maybe we can do it a days later, seeing what is the conversation that is going around in the Twitter platform. So take ownership. This is, like I said, this is the most important thing. Take ownership of every department. As a PR person, like I said in the beginning of the my presentation, that you play a very important role. And when I say a very important role, I mean it, because you as a PR person have to guide your legal team, your HR team, your social media team, your GA team, your customer service team. So you act as a leader of the company. You have to tell them what to do and what not to do as a team member. So taking ownership is the most important thing as a PR person. You should do it. Take it offline, be honest, and follow up. So these are the 3 things. Like with ownership, you will automatically, it will come to you. Like for example, be transparent about your communication. So like I said, a crisis is being hit, be upfront about the situation, that hey, listen, this is the thing that has happened, we are investigating the matter with our factory people. So maybe you are talking to the factory owner, head of the factory, about what is the thing that is going on. Maybe he will come back and say to you, this is a normal thing that has happened, we were talking about the wage promotion, and we said 2 months later maybe we can think about it, and now one group of political party have come around and giving it a political angle on a wage issue, and a political anti-China sentiment is being played around. Now the whole situation, this conversation, you are having this conversation with a factory, and nobody else in the department or the organization knows about it, what is exactly happening and how they are dealing with the situation. Maybe they have called the laborers for a meeting in another 1 hour, but you are not aware of the situation, and neither the organization people. So be transparent about what is the real situation, what are the things that is going on, and what is the solution that a particular department is thinking to take to mitigate the crisis, right? And कॉन्स्टेंटली फॉलो अप. सो 1 घंटे का बोला है, 1 घंटे बाद फोन करो, फिर से देखो क्या हो रहा है, व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, व्हाट पीपल आर डूइंग इन दैट डिपार्टमेंट टू सॉल्व दैट प्रॉब्लम. Phone blast, for example, phone blast is a situation when a phone is it's when sudden situation happen, the phone, any department, the customer service team goes to that person, collect that phones and give it to the inquiry team. On the back end, the inquiry team then sits with the phone and then investigate what has been the reason. This take a time frame. It cannot happen in 1 or 2 hours. It's a process of 1-2 days time. So in 1 day's time, you have to see, you have to mitigate, you have to follow up again and again to see kahan hai situation, where has it reached. It is reached the customer service team, it has gone to the investigation department. If it has gone to the investigation department, they are putting the report in a proper format. If the report is being prepared, you have to circulate it to internal people and see that this is the reason that has been the main cause for the phone blast, and then come up with an explanation. Now I'm ready that this may be a cause of an external factor, maybe pressure के वजह से बहुत phone bend हो गया था, उसके कारण phone blast हो गया. That has been the situation, and now we think we will compensate the customer with another thing, or this has been the real cause, and we will issue a guideline for our future products, how to use the product while driving, or while you are sitting in your chair. So what things needs to be done to mitigate that crisis. So follow up is something that you need to be very proactive and follow this all these steps to see how can we deal with the situation. This is exactly what I defined. Now coming to your message strategy. So like I said, when you're preparing a statement, it can be a 2-line statement, it can be a 1-line statement, it can be a paragraph statement. It depends upon what is the strategy you are taking as a PR person or as an organization. You're suggesting to your upper management how to address the situation. Mostly these are divided into 4 parameters. One is the consumer angle, one is the employee angle, brand, and the government. You have to see different things, that what are people expecting to hear from you, what are the current perspective that is going around, and what is the important thing that you need to address. For example, like for a phone blast issue, the issue is not for me as a company or a PR person is to address कि my phone is best and मेरा phone तो blast हो ही नहीं सकता है. My issue first will be to see that nothing has happened to my consumer, the person who was using my phone, and if it has happened, then we are ready to compensate whatever the medical treatment is, whatever is required for his well-being. That is my my concern to be addressed. So that is my priority. So understand the priority first, that what is the thing that people needs to hear from you, and see what is the thing that you are going to deliver. Last, like I said, crisis and mid. So when you are in a boardroom meeting, every profession, like I think lawyers, CA, government official, you can understand how important are their positions are, but you will often hear this kind of conversation or a judgment or a suggestion being made to you as a PR person. No, let's not respond to this will go away in day or two, or we have contributed. So your finance person may say like maybe the government officials are talking about boycotting your product. Your finance person is saying, but why are they talking about boycotting us? We have given so much of tax, so why are they talking about this? I think this is not logical. I think you should ask your PR agency to remove these stories, or maybe somebody from your boss or the chairman of the company or a CEO company, he might just come and say to you, listen, I think you are the PR person, you have great contacts in the media, why don't you tell them to stop writing about us? Believe me, this doesn't happen. If you are a friend or a not friend, that person is doing his job. He or she is there to do his or her job. So nobody is going to stop writing or talk about it just because you are a friend. This doesn't happen. or the lawyer maybe come up with a say, so that person has written about us in a Facebook, let's do one thing, let's sue that person, give him a legal notice, and maybe he will stop saying us. This is not going to help us anyway. So these are all crises and myths that you will hear from different group of people, and as a peer person you will have to guide them. Like I always say, you always have to guide them about the right strategy to be taken. These are not the way to deal with a crisis, and even if you are not able to convince your stakeholders about not taking these steps, then I'm sure you are going to hit with a big crisis and nobody can escape you from that. So do not fall for this kind of suggestion from any departments. Like crisis life cycle, like I said, first you monitor, assess, activate, respond, recalibrate. One of the most, like I said, most of the time, how to monitor, how to activate, how to respond. But I think what I like to share in this slide is the recalibrate and recover part, where once you share the statement, what is the situation has happened, what needs to be addressed, you have address it to media via your written statement, you have uploaded in your social media channel about what is the stance as a company you are taking it. I think then comes the process about slowly, when the conversation dies down, you have to see what is the reason that has happened for this kind of a crisis. What was the lag in terms of maybe communication or understanding? And as a person, you have to think about what could be done so that later or in the future this kind of a situation doesn't happen. So maybe prepare. So later in my slide you will see a lot of playbook material that you need to prepare for as a PR person, and circulate it internally, so that you are you take a corrective measure for future, so that the same kind of a mistake doesn't happen again and again. Some of the important guidelines for the company management that you should suggest, or the employees. So no direct exposure of OPPO spokesperson, like I said, unless it is a briefing. So do not panic at any crisis situation. Like for example, the crisis can be a fake crisis also, or it's a real crisis also, but do not panic at the moment, and stop responding very quickly to media until unless you know about the situation. Spokesperson, when you use a spokesperson, use it very wisely. How to use your spokesperson in an official statement about taking the, if it is a thing that has happened, genuinely happened from your company, of course you are. If it is not, then I don't think that any company person coming out and saying any kind of a statement doesn't make any sense, because as a global organization, we cannot, go out and correct every fake news that goes into the market. So wisely use your spokesperson name in terms of crisis. Social media team, be reactive in terms of using preactive responses. Avoid during this time, during this period, I think one of the major challenge that happened for any person is that you get a media call as a person, or they reach out to your agency, or they directly reach out to your boss, or maybe the company's head of the department or company CEO. So be very proactive in telling your company stakeholders or spokesperson not to respond to media queries as single at a time, until unless we are prepared with a statement. So no direct exposure of the spokesperson to the media. And employees, like I said, employees, HR plays a very important role. You have to tell your HR to be genuine to your employees and float the correct information, or whatever the situation is, at least float the information about into the employee, so that no kind of fake news emerges from within the company. as a person, these are the basic thing that you need to do or follow when you join as a person, peer person into an organization. Like I said, audit the things, see what are the things can create, stakeholder mapping. You identify the team, see what kind of materials are available for your reading purpose or guideline. Listen, see what kind of a thing can affect different department. Content creation, scenario playing, like I said, key message draft. So create a lot of scenarios in terms of what all the potential kind of crisis can happen. Phone blast, maybe fake component, maybe sudden suicide of an employee, or maybe data breach of security for Indian government officials. So create different kind of scenario and create different kind of a key message, that if this is a scenario that has happened, what is the kind of a immediate response. Like for example, you sometimes it is not necessary, like I said, sometimes the investigation takes a little time to come to a view. This has exactly happened, but what will you do? You cannot wait for 1 or 2 days to investigation to come, because nobody is going to wait for your answer to respond to you to that query. Before that only that person is filing a story. So what you can do, maybe make a genuine general statement about talking about, let us we are investigating with the matter, we are fully cooperating with the authorities, we will update you as soon as we hear from the team. So they create kind of a very general kind of a statement. At least the person know from the other side you are responding, you are ready to tell them what has happened, you are not shying away or hiding away from the situation. So create kind of a message book for different kind of a situations. Playbook in implementation, so package protocols and resources in a user friendly format. So different, when I say user friendly format, so you have to understand that this is a crisis situation which is going to hit your upper management also, maybe a chairman or a CEO company, or an executive who is dealing with a general phone call, like he's a customer service person, just a graduate from a college. He has no experience about how to deal with it. So write or create content in that matter, so that it's a layman language, so everybody can understand what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. It becomes easy, because you as a person is not going to call maybe a person sitting your retailer in Vadodara and tell that person how to talk to the customer if somebody addresses it. It is not going to. He is going to get an email from the concern or his department head, say, see, if it is, this is the question that is being asked to you, you need to respond in this particular way. So write in a user friendly format so that everybody understand from top to below. Like I said, impacted teams, you need to be constantly in touch, establish content amplification channel partners. So as a PR person, most of the times you will see that people talk about responding to only media people, but in my presentation you will see that I'm constantly talking about how you talk about internal people stakeholder, because as a PR person you are not only going to respond, that is your responsibility, you have to respond to your media fraternity, because that is the first job. But your also job, like I said, is to direct your HR people how to talk to their employee about the incident, your customer service team, if a customer is inquiring, how to tell them about the situation, your channel partner who are doing regular business with your channel team. That person, he's doing crores of business with you, and he gets this query about this incident and he's panicked, like mera paisa to sara doob jayega. How are you going to address that partner? So that is also very important. As a channel partner, you tell them that what is the kind of communication that needs to be told, or to tell them that their money is safe, their investment is safe with us. So you play a very important role in internal stakeholder department in telling them different kind of a messaging for different stakeholders. Then training and rehearsal, one of the most important thing when you join as a company, once you identify the department, once you know what is the kind of crisis that can probably occur at any point of time. Rehearsal and training for relevant team members is very, very important, be it the top level, be it the mid level, or be it the junior level. Everybody needs a training to respond, because in today's time, even if you are talking to your friend, trust me, when it has actually happened, like you're talking to your friend, you're on your WhatsApp, that screenshot, you don't know, you are generally communicating as a person, as a colleague, but that screenshot has been circulated, and that becomes a crisis situation for you as a person, PR person, to deal with it, because there is something offensive or misguidedly written on that WhatsApp, which need not to be shared with the media fraternity or external people. So it is very important that you identify the relevant teams per person and organize training and rehearsal, and update them how to respond or how to deal with a situation. And this is not a one-time course. You have to do it, repeat it every quarterly. If it is very great if you can do it once or twice in a year, but have a kind of a training material for your especially the management and important team leaders, to tell them how to play different role in terms of crisis. Lastly, like I said, communication playbook: identify crisis identification and classification, crisis management protocol, crisis management team, responding action plan, crisis communication guidelines, crisis scenario planning, and suggested response. This should be your playbook while you are working in an organization, and this should be a Bible that should be treated by you and your management when you are hit by a crisis or to follow a crisis. One should every time follow this playbook whenever a crisis, you are in a crisis situation. Now crisis, like I said, there are different level of crisis. Again, you can see that differentiate what is the level of crisis that you would like to categorize it. Like for example, a crisis can occur, which I know, for example, like I've mentioned, L1, L2, L3. So like for example, a crisis is being hit, for example, if I may take an example, that a company, MD of my company, maybe China HQ headquarters, some NT of my company have resigned, and somebody called me and said, hey, listen, your company's MD had resigned, so we would like to have a statement for you. So resignation is and 2 days before, that your company's financial statement has been out, and it has not given a great performance. Now the person has to called you, and you came to know that he's maybe filing a story linking it to my financial thing, that maybe my company is in losses, so maybe the company has decided to sack him, which is not the case. Maybe his tenure is done and he is just resigning to let everybody know now no, he is into the next role. But is it a very sensitive issue? Like this needs a clear, very important clarification. No, it is not the fact that he is not resigning because of my company's officials, whatever the financial statement, he has got a better role. No, it is not required. It is not required to always justify all your actions into very detailed manner. So identify different situation. If it is a crisis, maybe say for example, I know that so for example, Indian government have identified few phone makers, and we are one of the phone makers, and we have been given a notice that you have been asked that you have to submit an investigation report. We got to know that some fake components or data breach is happening from your end. Now, data breach for a Indian security government, it's a big issue. It can go on a global level because it's on a political national issue that can happen. Now, do you need to inform only your India management and sit down with it, or do you have to inform the other hubs, maybe Europe or Latin America or Turkey? These are also important markets for you, and maybe media. Of course, India is now, is a global player. Everybody is inquiring. Maybe their media is questioning their Oppo, maybe Latin America team. Hey, we got to know about Indian government issuing some notice about you. What is going on? And that person haven't clue about it, what has happened in India. So it is your person to escalate that matter to the higher official and other hubs about the crisis and tell them, yes, this is the thing that has happened, and tell them whatever the situation, if it is in the investigation matter, or it is in a or you have dealt with the situation, or it will take some time. So have a written statement, communicate with different regions and tell them about the situation. So that is the level 3 kind of a category that I have classified on. So these are in couple of slides, you will see, like I said, couple of examples that you will see. For example, these are some pre-scheduled events or sudden emergency. Like, for example, like I gave you an example about senior management resignation. So does it have to draw a large level of media attention? No, it may be only a financial newspaper. Maybe if it is of an interest of if or his or her, he may report. It is a government involvement required? No. Brand ambassador disassociation in the market. If it is a very important crisis that can happen, it can be no also, because, or it can be yes also in today's time, because again, brand ambassador, it may be 2 साल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट खत्म होने के लिए आ गया था, and that is the time we hit the anti-China sentiment, and government officials have said, and people are linking 1:2. Because of this, Deepika Padukone has decided not to work with us. It becomes a trending story on Twitter. You are hit with a crisis and you can do nothing about it, instead of giving a statement about the same. Again, level 0 kind of a crisis. For example, you get a consumer complaint about a software issue in our smartphone, or for example, an XYZ vendor of R is dumping some e-waste at some particular site, and it is causing environmental hazard. Is it a responsibility, or it is going to hit me? No, it is not going to hit me. People may talk about it in social media, a little bit of influencer talking about it, but does it have an impact on a business? No, it is not, because it's a vendor who is doing it. It's their responsibility. We have a full contract with them there. It's written in the litigation. So if it is, if somebody questions us, we have the counter attack on that person about talking about that this is a vendor's thing that needs to be taken about, and we have a mention in our contract. So this is not a kind of a serious kind of a problem that can happen. Level 1 crisis. Now you suddenly that a board of meeting has conducted, and your finance people have come out and said that this year the company's performance is not that good, and this is going to be uploaded, of course, in government platforms. Now once it is uploaded in the government's platform, media is going to talk about it, somebody is going to find about it and report it. Is it going to be a very important crisis? No, it's a matter of fact only one kind of an incident, because that person comes to know about losses hua hai, he's going to just write about the reason for the losses. It's a one-day reporting and it's gone. Nobody is going to further mitigate or get deep dive about it, about why the losses, because the reason for the losses is also being stated in that document. So there is no further any kind of a perception or a viewpoint that person will develop. So this is a one kind of a thing, maybe just involving your upper management and informing your team members will deal with the situation. Level 2 crisis, like I said, it's a salary cut or a protest that is happening for long working hours or salary related issue. This can impact your company's image. Yes, it can, because it is talking about large number of factory people who are working day and out in our factory. It can create a different level of crisis if it is given a political angle, if any regional party joins in, if any different angle is given, then of course it is going to impact a certain brand image. Our sales is going to decline, and of course all the partners or the suppliers are going to have a negative perception about our brand and what is happening. Like protest is going on, फोन बनेगा नहीं बनेगा, हमारे पास आएगा नहीं आएगा, हमने तो इन्वेंट्री खरीद रखा है, क्या होने वाला है. So this is going to be a kind of a crisis. And government action, yes, if it is not given full attention, it can take a government angle, and it can come into labor union association, and it can take a bigger angle if you don't respond quickly. Level 3 kind of a crisis. This is again big crisis. Like I said, anti-China sentiment. We all have, you guys have heard, boycott karo, boycott karo, boycott karo. But this boycott situation can really hamper your image, not only in terms of brand image, but I think it has also to do with employment. What people do not understand is there are thousands of people working in our factory. There are thousands of people working all over India for a particular brand. If this kind of a crisis happen, it is going to impact all the internal stakeholder, the employees, the salesperson, and of course government has taken a important decision. It may arrest that government just ban us, like TikTok. Within a few hours it was banned from India, and nobody can do anything. So it is very important in that situation. Maybe you cannot be able to stop the anti-China. I'm not saying that as a PR person you go out a statement and all the boycott will stop, but at least you have an opportunity to share your narrative. If you don't respond to that narrative about you are cooperating or whatever is required, whatever the government has asked for, we are giving the documents, or we are helping them to investigate further. We are giving the full confidence to government authorities to come and see what all things we are fully abiding the laws of the country. So if you don't respond to this kind of a thing, then something is fishy, and people are not going to trust you for sure, that as a company's brand image, your company's image is gone for a toss for sure. Again, these are the kind of this is just a metrics of the kind of thing that you need to involve, the kind of crisis that you see, the level 1, level 2, level 3. What are the kind of management level as a person you need to involve? Like for example, if it is a L3 kind of a crisis, corporate communication team, a leadership team, finance, legal, HQ, employees, digital, media, HR, this all department needs to be involved in one particular message about the constant communication should be done with this people to make them understand about the situation and whatever the decision as a company you are taking to mitigate the crisis. In L2, again, corporate communication team, legal team, corporate affair team, employees, media, and digital. If you can see here, HQ is not required. Maybe because it's not a kind of a crisis where HQ needs to be involved. For level 1, you will see a lot of other departments are not required. So as a person, you need to see what is the kind of a effect that the crisis can have, and what are the kind of departments you need to involve to mitigate the crisis. Like I said, this is a crisis management team which will mostly help you to solve your problem when it comes in terms of solving a crisis. So when you as a person join as in an organization, you need to have a CMT consultant, CMT leader, which means the your agency people will be there. Sometimes you as a leader will be there. Your spokesperson will be there. Sometimes you also have head of of media relations, maybe your spokesperson is not comfortable and coming out and giving a statement. Maybe you have to use your media relation head to, you know, talk about the situation. You have to definitely involve your legal team always, because every crisis need have a legal procedure or process. So you need to understand what kind of a legal you know, legal thing can come to you, and what are the compliances you need to follow, and the departments that you need to be in touch with: the consumer team, head of sales, government affairs, head of HR, head of R&D if you have anybody from software and internet team, head of marketing, head of finance, and any other regional team, and you know, other teams to be involved. Crisis responding action plan, like I said, crisis alert, first response during a crisis, and post crisis. Crisis alert, collect information, report to your managers, like whatever the kind of, when I say managers, it means a higher level of people, because a CEO of a company, maybe your marketing head or a CEO of a company, is not aware. He is not going to deal into the matter and see what has happened. So you as a person need to tell them the exact scenario, identify different issues to become a crisis, and activate a crisis monitoring team at the first go. First thing you should start is the monitoring thing that you need to do when you are hit with a crisis. First response, collect information, verify fact, activate crisis management team, discuss response strategy and plan. So one of the most important thing is when you, as a PR person, you draft a statement, you think that this is the right statement as a person that you should roll out, but maybe it is not the right statement in terms of if you see a perspective of a customer service team. So when you have a crisis management team, have feel the pleasure to discuss with your team members about whatever your thought process is. Prepare communication material and prepare media interviews. Like if you get a media interview request, so prepare those kind of a thing, that who is going to ask you the question and who is going to ask you the hard-hitting facts about the crisis. During the crisis, when you are in the middle of the crisis, gather as many feedback you can from the market, from the employees, or just hear out what are the things that you're getting, adjust or response strategy and plan, update communication material, continue to analyze media and public relation, determine whether to hold a press conference. So this is up to you. Like I said, you as a person have to constantly see that what is the kind of a response that you need to tell to your or advise to your management. You need to hold a press conference or not hold a press conference, or you need to share a statement or not to share a statement. So this is a thing that you need to constantly guide your management. And post crisis, of course, prepare a post crisis report, like I said, and see if what are the communication challenges or what are the trigger that has happened in the past, so which led to this kind of a crisis, and formulate a plan so that it doesn't repeat in future the same mistake again and again. So key actions to be taken, like I said, call for meetings, which hasn't drawn. So for example, if for pre-scheduled meetings, if hasn't drawn any media attention or government, there's no direct involvement of the government, call for a meeting for crisis management team and evaluate the potential. They see region with your regional team that if they require any kind of a support from your end, see if there is any kind of an active statement that you just need to give it to your different regional hubs to see that, maybe addressing one question or answering to one query can mitigate the situation, that you can decide on your own. Sudden crisis, again, you have to see, like I mentioned, level it into different kind of L1, L2, L3 kind of a thing, which needs to be involved different kind of a team to see what kind of communication is flowing into the department, and see how do you address that department's questions. This I have already talked about. I'll not go into the metrics. this is the communication guidelines that you need to follow. So for example, if you are talking with your maybe business head, so maybe communication, so like I said, what is the form of communication that you need to talk, like maybe it is a WhatsApp communication? No, not WhatsApp is not the ideal way to talk about any crisis situation with your team members. So it can be a telephoning, a face-to-face, or an email communication channel. If it is a spokesperson and you are addressing it to the media, then it can be telephonic, email, reactive statement, press briefing, or press conference. If it is a CEO or BU heads or regional heads, or the employees needs to be updated about the situation, what are the communication channel that we can look into? We can organize a town hall, we can organize and upload the information on intranet, which is most of the company have their own portal for communication, so you can use that. You can have an email or an event where HR can have a face-to-face communication. So if it is a very sad incident that has happened, maybe a suicide or something, maybe the HR person will call the family person directly and have a face-to-face conversation. So these are the mode of communication channel that one needs to follow, apart from the general channels like WhatsApp or Insta messengers, or avoid this kind of channels for communication, because it can go wrong in any directions. For government affair team, again, it is a telephone, email, or face-to-face. So be very proper about the kind of communication channels as a person to suggest to your relevant team members, because this plays also a very important role in terms of not narrating a fake story or some circulating any kind of a fake news in the market. So based on my experience, I have again listed down some of the crisis situation that I mentioned, and what is the kind of a scenario and what all the stakeholders can be involved. Like I mentioned, if it is a statement about focus on investment or oppose commitment on financial losses, or any membership has any senior management has resigned, or they have got another opportunities, it's a pre-alert situation. Pre-alert, why? Because you already know the situation is going to happen, because the board of meeting has finished, and you have been informed by your internal team that this is the meeting that has happened and this is the person is going to resign. So you already know that this is a resignation that is going to come day after tomorrow, and you know that maybe a media person, or you may get a query from the media officials talking about why this has happened and linking to your financial statement. So this, as a person, you already know that this is going to happen. So as a person, what you need to do is involve the different stakeholder, big finance team, HQ team, media team, or legal team. So understand why the reason. So you as a person, you don't know that why the leadership has decided to resign. So after talking to this relevant team members, you figure out because his tenure has been over, and as a reason he is resigning. So you have a kind of a alertness about the situation, and you can prepare. You have enough time to prepare your statement and reaction about the same, and pass it through your management or HQ team. And if it is if anybody media calls you or asks you about this, you have the time to respond to it. You already know the thing. Again, brand ambassador exit or brand ambassador disassociation. So for example, like I said, who are the stakeholders needs to be involved? Corporate communication team, of course, marketing team, and media team. So what is needs to be done? Why has this disassociation has come into play? So you get to know that again, the contract was for a particular time period, and the time period has ended. So you already have that the situation has happened, and maybe because it's a big celebrity, Bollywood or Hollywood A-star celebrity, and once the disassociations news is spread in the market, media may come up with a story why this has been, maybe again this is based on the financial losses. Maybe we are not being able to pay the Bollywood star, so that has been the reason for, or the anti-China people don't want to now associate with our brand. Maybe this has, but this is not the case. It's just because of the end of the contract. So again, it's a pre-alert situation. You have the time to respond with proper corrective statement. So yeah. Scenario 3, again, software issue or a OS issue in the product. You definitely have to, be in touch with your product team or the tech team or the digital team to understand what is the software issue. It is really a bug that is that can be fixed from our end, or it's a global level thing that needs to be identified on a very timely manner, because this is a very time sensitive issue. Because software issue, once the phone stop working, it becomes a very awkward situation for any consumer, and once it happens to a lot of consumer, the spread of negativity is really fast. So you have to see the situation and ask the product team about the corrective measures, and see that if you get a media query, maybe our product team is already aware about this matter and they're working on this. So something like that kind of a statement, or maybe within 24 hours the issue will be sorted. This kind of a media statement should be immediately shared within the media community, so that no kind of a fake news emerges. Financial losses, I already have stated to you. Job cuts, this is again a very important issue, and this has been the rising issue for I think still till now. You will see a lot of news talking about all the startups talking about job cuts. I think this is something, one of the thing which most of the organization is being hit, and this is specifically due to various, it can be various level of issues can happen. Maybe it's a financial thing, or it's a restructuring that is happening. And as a peer person or as a spokesperson or the organization, you do not have to always respond to, because job cut, if it is happening on an industry level, so I don't think that you can simply put out a message about restructuring about the organization that is happening, or be transparent about why has been the reason for the job cuts, but do not go into very nitty-gritties about dealing with the situation, that why and how many and what will be done to those employees. So that is a very broader level of topic which many departments are involved, and as a person I think you need to yes, hello, I'll just take 4 minutes. I think I'm almost done. Tanushree ma'am, do you want to say something?
Ma'am, I've just WhatsApp you something. Okay. Carry on, ma'am. Yes, carry on.
I'll take another 5-10 minutes only.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. So I already discussed about the anti-China thing. So once you have this kind of a statement, I think best way for any political angle that you have is do not respond very quickly to the situation, because it's a political angle, it's a broader geopolitical situation, and mostly as a PR professional, everybody practice this, that when it comes to geopolitical tension, it's best not to jump into that conversation, because as an organization we are very small in that matter. So do not comment on any geopolitical situation. Stay away from the conversation as much as you can. India, again, this is again Indo-China border. I think you guys have seen a lot of news about India's issues at the China border, and this can also affect you as a company. And trust me, this has happened a lot of time, anytime, and this has nothing to do with my company. Like my company, people were not in the border, but I was being hit by the crisis again, because there was a crisis going on between the two countries. As a person, we were being questioned information about what is the situation look like, will it be impacted in our business, will we stop doing business with the country. So a lot of questions will come up. Again, refrain from these political questions, because this is not in your hand or your organization hand. It has a bigger impact, and bigger political leaders of the country will decide what is needs to be done for the country's development. So do not comment on this kind of a thing. Yeah, so lastly, this is just a small directory that you should always maintain about the key important person, title of the person that you need to get in touch with, direct line, email ID for any kind of an assistant. Keep it handy, keep it updated, and reach out to them as many times you need help. So feel free to ask help in terms of crisis, in terms of getting any kind of an information. Yeah, so I think that's the end from my side. I hope
Yes. Am I audible, Palmi?
yes.
Before I just thank you, because there are so many things for which I should really thank you. But then we are a little bit running short of time. Rather, I was so much deeply into every word of yours that you were speaking, specifically in the industry point of view, talking of in terms of Oppo. So I also rather wanted to ask one question, but then we are really running short of time. So I would take up two questions, typed by from the side of our students. One is the question from Deepa. She is a student of master's program in journalism and mass communication. She wants to ask, are there any kind of templates specifically for digital media prepared during the pre-crisis phase? Which, yeah,
Yes.
Paul.
Yes, so I think there is this is the same kind of a preparedness book. So the digital team, of course, will have a different kind of a format in terms of responding to different platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, because LinkedIn, there are different formats that I think a digital person will be a better person to tell you the kind of format or the kind of text that needs to be written, if you know the kind of a crisis that is going to hit. But as a person, PR person, what you can definitely do is, like I said, when there is a kind of a pre-crisis phase, you know that this kind of a crisis is going to happen, like the Deepika Padukone case or the financial losses. Maybe you can definitely inform your digital media team about this is going to happen, and maybe the conversation may pick up in the media fraternity, may not be in some case, maybe on the digital platform, maybe because celebrity is associated financial loss. I don't think people are general consumer are mostly bothered about how any company's financial performance is and talking in the Twitter. I don't think so, but for celebrity, of course, there can be. So maybe you can apprise the team about the situation, and as a peer person, whatever the statement that you have written for your media, you just have to share the statement and tell the team, maybe you can see the content based on your platform that you need to post it. You can revise it accordingly, but the crux has to be the same that has been shared by you. So that may be.
Yes. You very rightly mentioned, Paulmi. What I also feel, teaching PR for so many years, foresightedness is very important in the PR profession. Very rightly mentioned. See, we can outsource it, we can give it to a digital team, a social media content writing team. But then we should have a complete knack of the things going on, a complete mapping of the inner things going on in the mindset of the stakeholders. Okay, some kind of discussion is going on, some trouble is there
Yes.
seems to be something wrong, so, and then finally that can catapult into what proportions. So that thing should be very much in the control of the PR persons.
Yes. The narrative, the mostly words can be way of written communication depends on person to person. It can be written in a different way, but I think the narrative plays a very important role, and PR person has to decide what is the narrative that you need to set.
Definitely, very rightly mentioned, you cannot start the planning for a crisis just in few hours. So, situation analysis, we rightly teach the students in the class, thinking of certain kinds of what if this happens, all those what ifs,
Yes,
and then what we can do. So that can really make us getting less panicked, really,
yes,
because crisis doesn't give you time at
yes.
all. So that is very rightly mentioned and described, Paul. Me, one more question maybe, if Mobin ji allows me, we are running short of time. This is a question put up from the side of a student of bachelor's, final semester, bachelor's of journalism and mass communication. He wants to know how critical communication can help in the growth of an individual in an organization. Maybe growth of an individual, he wants to know from the perspective of employees, PR people, maybe how does it contribute in their their qualities of sensing the things, how does it contribute? Yeah, yes, Paul, please.
I think, like I said in my presentation, PR for any organization, I will take this as a PR, as an employee or as an individual. How are I contributed to my organization, or if the person joins any organization, how critical that person's role or organization role will be. So, like I said, I think very important, PR plays a very important role. I repeatedly said again and again, because you are the person who will be driving all the senior management what to do about the crisis. You are dealing with the lawyer, you never have studied law, you do not know anything about the legal paper, that or the implication that can happen, but you still have to study, you still have to see, you still have to see what kind of an implication can happen, and you still have to guide that person. So you play a very important role in terms of guiding different stakeholders. You are not a PR only, you are the leader of an organization, because your chairman or your CEO is going to decide about what needs to be done based on your analysis and based on your suggestion. So when I say this repeatedly, you are not, do not treat yourself as only a PR person. You are the leader of the organization, and your judgment can really help a company's reputation grow or fail miserably. It's on your health hand. If you pass through that crisis, I think you are the hero of the company, and nobody can take that credit from you. You will be everywhere, in all the employee bonus, on everything, appreciation. So nobody will take that credit from you.
Very, very, very rightly mentioned. I think today's session, just not considering it from the perspective of crisis management, we are having a good number of students who want to go up to PR in future. You're looking up to it. We're having in digital content writing, and maybe traditional media. But a lot of students were interested in PR. And today's session, has really made their decision much more stronger. So all thanks to Paulmi, because they now realize exactly where the PR people fit in. It's not a job sitting on your chair, and getting the things done. So I always begin my PR class by saying my students, you should love people. Then only you can be a very good PR person. You should know what is the opinion going on in their minds, which way they can react, which way they can interpret the things. And those all things you never know will help you, definitely. Like, for example, in the case of crisis management also, if you know the media team, the media people, if you know how to interact with the employees, if you know how to deal with the HR, you cannot get these things done in 1 hour.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and that will help you. All these things will help you in an alarming situation like a crisis.
Yes.
So very nicely, excellently delivered, Paulmi. I am so much thankful to you, because we keep on taking lectures. We teach all these subjects and topics to the students in the class. But exactly what is the industry people point of view? How do they handle and deal with these crises? Explaining it on the basis of certain case studies and examples. So I think for every point you have cited certain, grassroots field-based examples in the perspective perspective of Oppo only. And so that made the concepts and the things very much understandable. I'm also very thankful to you, Paulmi, because your presentation was very rich. I was very much into reading every word of it, and all the slides were power packed with so much of relevant content. So maybe in future, with all your due permission, if you give me the permission, then if you allow me, I can share your PPT, with my students also. And every slide right away, from the types of crisis, stages of crisis, the nature of crisis, and how does the crisis response strategy differ from crisis to crisis. That is something very, very, very important. Now you mentioned about, sudden crisis and smoldering crisis.
Yes.
Now we cannot have the same kind of crisis management strategy and tool if we are dealing with a sudden crisis. That is something which really, everybody goes, now what to be done, because exactly have to take a decision, and real-time messaging should go on every second. And especially in case of smoldering crisis, you need to have a different kind of, action plan. So very interesting session, Paulmi. I would like to once again thank you for really delivering a 1.5 hour lectures. I would also like to thank you, especially without missing this opportunity. You're very busy in your professional life, but just at one phone call of mine, you gave your consent. Yes, you're willing to deliver this session. So I would like to thank you, Bhaskar sir, who recommended your name for this brilliant session of today's, and all my heartfelt thanks from our school, Amity School of Communication, from the faculty members. It was a very interesting session. I wish I could have taken up few more questions, but then I think we are running very much short of time. One question has come from Dr. Sangeeta Saxena. Sometimes flash on social media, such news about this crisis create panic. A lot more fake news and videos are shared by people who take the advantage of such situations. How to avoid this, how it affects sensitization process. So how, this is something, again, a very interesting, very important question, because what is the crux of the fact and how much are the people sensationalizing it? So that needs to be differentiated. So maybe you can just give one line response.
Yeah, I think to cut it short, like I said in my presentation, also the way or the mode of channel of communication, it is very important that you see and you inform the relevant departments or internal employees, because most of the conversation happens within the organization and then spread outside, and then it becomes a fake news into the market. So be proactive in telling with honesty what has happened within your internal stakeholders and within your internal employees, and choose wisely your mode of communication so that nobody interprets or misunderstands any kind of a messaging that is going out in the market. So that is one of the important factor that you need to sensitize every team members.
Very correct. So crisis, I would rather say, it's an opportunity for the PR people to prove themselves. So if they can come out of it, they become the heroes. So I rightly said, crisis rather should be taken up that it's an opportunity to show your worth.
Yeah.
So very good. But then if it is not going on in that way, so then it can become a big challenge, affecting the long-term reputation of the organization. Thank you so much, Paulmi. I wish someday we could call you for conducting maybe a one-day workshop for our students, taking up another very relevant contemporary topic. And once again, thank you so much from the side of entire school fraternity people, and wish you again, a good day, a great day today.
Thank you.
I would also like to thank the IT team, Mobinji, for really coordinating and for all the testing and all that you did with us yesterday. So on that note, once again, thanks to everybody. Thank you all the faculty members and my dear students for being very active throughout the entire session. So we would look forward to many more such kind of fruitful sessions. Paulmi-ji.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So you
have
will be ma'am, and wish you a great day.
Yes, same to you. Bye.
Bye, 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 bye.